Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Lay on Keys. If you're new to my channel, welcome and feel free to subscribe. So first of all, I hope you guys had a great Labor Day weekend. I know I did. Also, sorry it's been such a long time. It's been a busy summer, and before I knew it, a month passed by before I could make videos again. But now I'm back. Now onto the video. As you saw in the title, the topic of this video will be suspended notes, and what are suspended notes and how you can use them. So the idea of a suspended note just means a note that doesn't necessarily belong in a certain chord, but it's played in order to enhance, for example, a chord or a melody, etc. So for example, we have our most basic chord, as you all remember, which is the triad. So I'll just play, for example, C major, the C major triad, which is, as you guys know, C, E, and G, okay? And as you remember, the triad is made up of the number 1, the 3, and the 5, right? So those are the basic notes of a triad. That's what we're familiar with when we think of a triad chord. Now, when you start adding suspended notes, what that typically means is that you're keeping the root of the triad. So the root in this case would be a 1, which is the C, and usually keeping the 5th of the triad too. So the 5th of the C major triad would be a G. But now the 3rd note is what changes depending on the name of the chord. So for example, if I were to play a C major suspended 2, all that means is that I'm taking the 3 and then dropping it to a 2 and playing the 2 instead. So the 2 in this case would be a D, and this is how that would sound. So instead of this, a suspended 2 would sound like this, okay? Now, in the same fashion, if I wanted to play a suspended 4, we're taking the 3 and then moving it to the 4th position. So instead of playing the 3rd position, we're playing the 4th position, which in this case is an F. So this is what that would look like. Okay? And yeah, that's basically in its most basic sense. You can also do this with minor chords as well. The same concept. So for example, with an A minor triad. So a sus2 would be, you're playing the 2 in this case, which is a B. So that's what that sounds like. A sus4, you're playing the D. That's what it sounds like. And the reason why this can go pretty much with any minor or major triad, because as you might have realized by now, the 3rd note is what determines if a chord is major or minor, right? So when you don't have that 3rd note and you're just playing the other notes in comparison, it could be indistinguishable whether it's a minor or a major chord. But yeah, so that's the basics gist of suspended notes. There are other suspended notes, but these are the most used ones. Now, where would you use a suspended note, or why would you want to use a suspended note? Well, like I mentioned in the beginning, you can use suspended notes, for example, to create a melody, or just as a voicing when you are playing a melody. One example on the top of my head is for all you gospel listeners, if you know the song Every Praise by Hezekiah Walker, the intro sounds a little bit like this. So all I'm really doing here is switching from a regular C major triad to a C major sus2 to C major sus4 back to a regular C major triad. So, and I'm just repeating that. Okay, so that's one way to use them. Another way to use them, like with any chords, you can arpeggiate them. So the same way you can arpeggiate regular chords like triad, whatever, you can also arpeggiate chords with suspended notes. So yeah, just like any chord. So a nice example of this, another gospel song, Imagine Me by Kirk Franklin, actually uses this a lot throughout the song. So it sounds something like this. Okay, so what I'm doing here, basically an F major, right? But you're inverting it down this way. And you're taking the 3 to a sus2. So instead of playing this, you're playing this. And then you're just arpeggiating down. And then you're just alternating between that and the C major triad. Another way to look at it is for an F major, it's a sus2, but for a C major chord, it's a sus4. So, you know, the same chord, just 2 different ways of looking at it, but same thing. So that's another way to do it. You could do runs with suspended notes. So instead of doing just, you know, a basic, you know, I like to use a suspended 2, for example. You know, this gives it a little, you know, a little spice. Just a little bit, just a little bit. And another thing you could do with suspended notes is to, like, for example, let's say you're just trying to accompany a singer and you're not necessarily playing any melody per se, you're just playing chords. Suspended notes are a good way to kind of add movements in the chord when you're just playing a chord, for example. So a good example of this, and you'll find this in actually a lot of gospel songs or a lot of Christmas songs like this one is, or just, you know, any song in general. But a good example is the ending of Silent Night. So here's how the ending goes, just as a refresher. Okay, so for the ending, for example, the sleep in heavenly peace, you could play something like this, where in the left hand you're playing the G, in the right hand, instead of just playing a regular G major triad, which is this is inverted, but you know, it's a G, B, D. You can play a sus4 of a G. So the 4 in this case would be the C. So sleep in heavenly peace. See, so all I'm doing here is just playing the sus4 and then moving it down to regular G major triad. See, so you see how it just kind of gives it some movement, and then you go back to the 1. So that's another way you can use suspended notes. It's a pretty simple, tiny trick, but very effective. It does help liven up the music, and it is definitely a good tool to have. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it for suspended notes. I hope you guys learned something and find it pretty useful. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment box below. Like if you have any song recommendations or anything like that, just let me know. But otherwise, thanks again for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.